17 points, 12 assists, a double-double. Off the bench, in international competition, against some of the world's best defenders. And the woman who produced those numbers isn't starting. Hasn't started once. 3 games in. That's not a lineup decision. That's a power play. And today, we're pulling back the curtain on exactly who's running it, how it's being disguised in press conference language, and why the numbers have made it impossible to hide any longer. Caitlin Clark is posting historic bench production for USA Basketball, while Chelsea Gray has occupied the starting point guard spot for 3 consecutive games. The coaching staff isn't offering explanations. The veterans aren't providing context, but the statistics, the press conference footage, and Chelsea Gray's own words in front of international media have handed us everything we need to connect these dots completely. If this kind of analysis cuts through the noise for you, hit that like button right now. It tells us this is exactly the kind of investigative breakdown you want more of, and it helps us keep making it. Here's what makes this situation genuinely significant. This isn't a standard rotation debate about playing time preferences. This is USA Basketball operating under 2 completely separate systems simultaneously. One system exists for players who built the program's veteran hierarchy years ago. A completely different system exists for everyone else, including the single most economically valuable player women's basketball has ever produced. 3 games into this international tournament, head coaching responsibilities briefly shifted to Nate Tibbetts. Something measurable happened almost immediately. The offense accelerated, ball movement sharpened, points came with less friction, not because of some tactical breakthrough Tibbetts invented, but because the unit built around Caitlin Clark, Paige Bueckers, and Angel Reese was simply too fast, too creative, and too efficient for the opposition to contain. That press conference moment after the game matters far more than the surface reading suggests. Tibbetts acknowledges that group hadn't been together long. He notes the rotations were unconventional by design. He confirms they played that unit in longer stretches than the previous 2 games. That's a coach describing a lineup that earned extended minutes because it kept producing results. But here is exactly where the contradiction surfaces. When a reporter pressed him specifically on that high-energy Clark-led unit, the group that cracked the game open, Tibbetts did something that tells you everything about the political environment surrounding this team. He praised them. And then, almost in the same breath, he undermined them. He suggested, completely unprompted, that he may have kept them out there slightly too long. That fatigue might have become a factor toward the end of that run. A bench unit outperforms the starting 5 across every visible metric, and the coaching response is to manufacture a conditioning concern. That is not basketball analysis. That is political damage control delivered in athletic language. And the audience for that language isn't the media in that room. It's the veteran starters watching the footage later, needing to hear that their roles remain protected. This is the framework you need to understand everything that follows. Because Chelsea Gray's response when those same cameras turn to her, it removes any remaining ambiguity about what is actually happening inside that locker room. So, what exactly is being protected here? Drop your read in the comments right now. Do you believe this starting lineup situation is deliberate suppression? Or do you think there's a legitimate tactical explanation the coaching staff just isn't communicating? I want to see where this community lands on that question. When global media asked Chelsea Gray to assess the rapid development and undeniable impact of Clark and Bueckers on this tournament, she had a choice. Veterans in genuine leadership positions use those moments to elevate the next generation, to acknowledge what's being built beneath them, to demonstrate the confidence that only comes from knowing your value doesn't depend on minimizing someone else's. Gray chose differently. She called them peanut butter and jelly on an international media stage, in front of cameras broadcasting to a global sports audience directed at the 2 most recognizable players on that entire roster, and paired with commentary about screaming corrections at them for being out of position, framing Clark and Bueckers not as elite professionals executing an unconventional system at elite speed, but as confused kids who needed a veteran to yell at them about where to stand. Strip away the folksy delivery, and examine what that language actually accomplishes. It publicly establishes that Clark and Bueckers are still learning, that they require supervision, that their explosive statistical output is somehow offset by positional inexperience that only veterans can correct. Gray's media moment was precision engineered to land in headlines as a charming locker room anecdote. What it actually is a veteran starter publicly framing her competition as unready for her spot. The fan base is reading it clearly. Multiple analysts and content creators following this tournament have raised the same pointed observation. 3 games, 0 starts for Caitlin Clark, and the only explanation offered from the coaching staff is that they're still figuring out the rotations. Meanwhile, Clark is generating double-double production in restricted bench minutes against international competition. If this level of accountability coverage is why you keep coming back, consider joining the channel as a member. Your support is specifically what makes it possible for us to keep digging into the stories mainstream sports coverage isn't connecting. Here is the layer that no one in the conventional basketball media is touching. This veteran establishment is simultaneously engaged in collective bargaining negotiations with WNBA ownership, demanding a 50% revenue split, a demand they're backing with the explicit threat of canceling the entire 2026 season. And the core justification for that revenue demand is the explosion in women's basketball's economic value over the past 2 years. The explosion that Caitlin Clark generated. Veterans are demanding a larger share of revenue built almost entirely on Clark's cultural and commercial impact, while actively working to limit her role, her minutes, and her visibility on the world's biggest international basketball stage. That is not strategic roster management. That is a power structure attempting to monetize an asset it is simultaneously trying to contain, and that contradiction is not sustainable. Television executives at ESPN, ownership groups with 9-figure investments, and the global sponsors pumping money into women's basketball aren't monitoring the veteran political hierarchy. They're watching Clark post double-doubles from the bench in limited minutes and calculating exactly what those numbers look like when she's starting from Game 1, controlling the ball from the opening possession with a full game to operate. The CBA deadline is not far away, and every press conference where a coach cannot articulate why Clark isn't starting, every media appearance where a veteran point guard uses dismissive playground language to describe her on a global platform, those moments are being recorded. The people who actually control the financial architecture of this sport are paying very close attention to all of it. You cannot negotiate from a position of economic leverage while actively suppressing the source of that leverage. That calculation resolves one way, and it won't resolve in favor of the people trying to slow down the most unstoppable force women's basketball has ever seen. If what's building inside USA basketball right now has you watching every development closely, subscribe and hit the notification bell. Our next video goes deep into what the CBA impasse specifically means for Clark's leverage heading into free agency, and the numbers are going to surprise you. Don't miss it.